Ibiza played a huge part in the club culture that we know today. Really, because of the style of clubbing, really, I think that was brought back from Ibiza into London.
I'd only ever been in discos where you sit down and like sitting chewing gum, and it's all like, you know, kind of all doom and gloom, and it was like this beautiful open air, like big Garden of Eden.
And you'd see a sunrise while you were still dancing after having danced for like 6 to 8 hours, to this mix of music that you just wasn't hearing anywhere else.
Ibiza had been a playground for Europe's jet set since the 70s.
In the beginning, there was paradise, but man, foolish man, wanted more out of life. So he bit the apple to become wise. There he stood naked.
In 1987, 4 British holidaymakers were to have an experience that was to change clubbing forever.
September '87 was Paul Oakenfold's birthday and mine as well. And I think it was Paul's suggestion that we go to Ibiza for a week to celebrate the birthdays.
I had my birthday party there and invited Holloway, Ramplin and Johnny Walker.
Paul was running a little club in Streatham and plugging records. Johnny was working for London Records, and Danny had just started DJing, you know, just doing a few little things here and there.
None of them were actually DJing in Ibiza at that point. It was very much a clubbing island run by Spanish DJs.
I remember a friend of ours, Trevor, going on about this club called Amnesia, and we'd heard about it, but it was always, you know, it's miles away, we'd have to get a cab there, don't want to do that.
We got taken along there one night, and you know, just amazed at what Alfredo was doing, you know, with the music.
There was kind of division between disco music and pop music, and we broke with that.
Enigmatic DJ Alfredo spun a Balearic mix of pop and dance music.
Sueño, que me lo das, y lo siento todo dentro de mí. Bésame.
I had to make dance a bunch of people that were English, German, French, Spanish, old, young, all different circumstances.
What he was doing was playing right across the board, from rock to pop, disco to everything, every kind of music, and mixing it up.
So he had a mixed crowd there, and I think all he was trying to do was just, you know, play a mixture of quality dance music, you know, and still slip in some of the new things that he was into, which was Chicago house sound. We'd obviously also all been introduced into, like, you know, taking an E.
There was like sweat on their brow and their hairs was all like dishevelled, and they were like, what the fuck is going on here, you know?
I remember seeing Paul Oakenfold and I think Nicky Holloway skipping around the club hand in hand, which they might deny now.
I don't think that it was a necessity, and I don't think that everybody was doing it. I just think E was something that brought the people together in as much as it made them appreciate the music.
As their holiday ended, the 4 friends resolved to bring their summer back to London. In the autumn of 1987, Danny Rampling recreated Ibiza in a gym in Southwark. He called it Shum.
Shum was just a sweatbox.
I don't know, it was just lunacy.
You know, the ceiling was like there.
You could barely see this far in front of you.
Danny Rampling was like there. Danny Rampling on the decks, and it's like, oh, it's Danny Rampling, it's Danny Rampling, it's Danny Rampling.
Now, some girl told me once afterwards that she could see his aura as he DJ'd. these people who like you were just like it was like, oh my god, you know, they were in Gaultier suits one week, and next minute they were like very spiritual and on one mateys, they say.
London was finally catching on to the joys of Chicago house.
Unless you were on it, it was the difference between the lights being on or not off. I mean, you were in a fitness club, but as soon as you'd get sorted, you were in amnesia.
All these fresh-faced people, completely, you know, mashed on drugs, but because they hadn't been doing it for years, they look quite healthy, really, and even the gurning looked quite attractive.
People were getting down there, they were taking loads of ecstasy, they were wearing loads of day-glow clothing, and they were all going absolutely mad.
I hate to say it, but before Shum, the music didn't have an identity. You know, it didn't have a look. It didn't have a dance.
The whole culture of dance music and rave culture, you can say its beginnings were at Shum.
House had arrived, but the music was still being driven by America. In Chicago, producer Marshall Jefferson was about to create its very first supergroup.
Did a couple records under the name Ragtime, and when Atlantic Records approached us about recording for them, they said that they wanted us to record for them, but they hated the name Ragtime.
So he was looking for a group name, and I said, intensity.
He said, oh, this stuff that we're doing, man, this stuff is so intense. I'm telling you, this is intense. I can feel the energy. That's my Marshall impersonation.
The way Byron was singing, you know, he would do extreme highs and lows.
I started messing around with the name Intensity, and I took the IN off of the front off of it and came up with 10 City, which I thought sounded a lot cooler. And then also I was sort of into numerology and things like that at the time, and I thought it's like, well, 10 is symbolic as the number of perfection.
10 City, where everything is perfect, you know, and like, you know, that's where Byron took it, because he was like a deep guy like that.
Two people take a vow to be together and live and love each other forever. They promise to love a lifetime. Funny thing, then they change their minds.
Marshall, when he was producing those records, he was doing live strings, you know, he was doing
he was definitely bringing out the
live bass and all that, and he was making them records. They were hot.
Sometimes he would do things in such a way, I guess it would be like Picasso. He would do things to me and it would sound like strange. I mean, just really bizarre, and so sometimes it wouldn't all come together until it was actually done, and you would go, oh yeah.
No longer just about simple drum loops and raw samples, house was real music.
He hired 16 people to do hand claps. Yeah, he was like...
When he was doing the whole live thing?
He blew the whole budget on hand claps or something like that.
I just want all my samples to sound different, man. It's nothing special, you know.